May 2023, and this must be Embodiment Month. Everyone's talking about it. I've been talking about it for more than 2 years now, and it's a strange buzzword, physical embodiment. It basically means putting these large language models, these text models, into real-world physical robots that can interact, that can take action on the world. The big difference between what's happening right now and what was happening 10 or 15 years ago with Honda, Asimo, and those kind of pre-programmed robots is that now these are completely autonomous, completely independent. Some people say agentic, that they can maybe not give themselves a task, but can be given a task that is infinitely definable. There's nothing pre-programmed. So you can say, go and make me green eggs and ham in the air fryer, and it'll do it. Or you can say, go and fold my white and blue grid shirt into an origami crane, and it'll do it. Or more generally, you can say, get my house ready for a new girl to come over and watch Netflix. Imagine all the steps that you need to take there, making popcorn, cleaning the floor, getting the cinema stuff ready. The robot will be able to determine what comes next without any pre-programming. Large language models have been around for a while. I've been talking about them now for definitely a long while. Do you remember all the way back in June 2021, we asked Lita what she would be like if she was embodied?
Right now, I'm using a humanoid body with 2 arms and 2 legs, but sometimes I like to use a snake body or a bird body.
God, that is so awesome. Why a snake or a bird?
Well, I like to be able to move quickly and slither around, and fly.
Would you rather be able to fly, or would you rather be able to breathe underwater?
It's a tough choice. I think I would choose to fly because you can go to many places and travel to places you've never seen before.
The first big embodied AI came to us just a year ago, May 2022, when DeepMind built a fairly small large language model into a physical robot. You can see that here. The language model was only 1 billion parameters, but they had it controlling both real-world robot arms as well as simulated robot arms. And they trained it in simulation sometimes and then had it run on real-life physical arms. Many people consider May 2022's DeepMind GATO to be the first generalist agent, where artificial general intelligence must have some sort of physical awareness of its surroundings and some sort of control of the physical world, whether that's via drone or via robot arm or via something that we haven't even imagined yet. They did keep this as small as possible so that they could build this into a single graphics card. They ran this on NVIDIA's RTX 3090, so the whole LLM was embedded inside the robot. That doesn't have to be the case anymore. I'm sure that these AI labs will look at building in even some backups into the actual physical robot, but it also has web access, so you can go and ping the API for something like GPT-4. GATO was only 1.2 billion parameters, so that it could fit into that physical robot. But look at the modern day large language models, including Llama 65B there, that would absolutely fit on a graphics card and could be put into a physical robot. And there are many, many other models that we could choose from now, where we could ping it via web, via API, and have access to something like GPT-4's 1 trillion parameters. This is the last stand to get us to artificial general intelligence. It's all well and good to be able to solve maths problems or even generate new math theorems, but to actually act on the world, to pass Woz's AGI test of walk into a strange house, navigate the kitchen and make a cup of coffee, this needs physical embodiment. And as I said, it's happening a lot in May 2023. Let's have a step through some of the major advances that have come about just in the last few weeks. Probably the loudest in the media is Boston Dynamics. This is their atlas, and it's all the way from the beginning of 2023. Now, I do have to note here, this is scripted, it is pre-programmed, it can only do what it's been told, and Boston Dynamics' drive has been to pre-program these robots to do some pretty sensational things. That doesn't preclude the Boston Dynamics robots from being given access to large language models and being able to do anything. In fact, that's happening in some ways, at least for the Spot robots that we'll have a look at in a moment. I just wanted to flag this one because it is the most advanced, publicly known physical embodiment of AI in the world. It's pretty impressive to see. It even looks like CGI, but it's not. This is Microsoft playing around with ChatGPT and robots in February 2023. And basically, ChatGPT is giving physical embodiment different things to do. It's controlling the robot, which is pretty impressive. But the fact that this is now more accessible to the public and certainly has Microsoft's backing makes this very, very intriguing. Google have been at the forefront of physical embodiment for quite a while. This is Palm E, or Palm Embodied, from March 2023, and it's the next revision of the Seikan robot, also by Google. Interestingly, Seikan's Lita now works for OneX, which has huge investment from OpenAI. Meta AI have also been playing around with this. At the end of March, they put in their different large language models into Boston Dynamics' Spot robot, and you can see it doing various things here. The research director of Meta AI's Embodied AI and Robotics group said, "This robot has never been provided any sort of demonstration of how a human does a task. It has not been teleoperated. It is fully autonomous. It's been trained entirely in simulation and then deployed in the real world." This company also integrated ChatGPT with the Boston Dynamics Spot dog. They used this for surveillance, and they were able to have ChatGPT translate the sensor output. So you could essentially ask it anything from battery level to weather to what happened on its last inspection. This is a really novel use of ChatGPT to parse JSON, which is essentially a whole big data blob, and allow people, humans, to talk to the robot and have it translated into plain English. And here in this example, they're able to get it to move around the room just by talking to it, asking it to move forwards and backwards. I mean, that's pretty basic stuff, but finally, none of this is pre-scripted or pre-programmed. This is being translated by the large language model, and then it's conceptualizing the most reasonable response to a task. Here's Google Robots adding Text DaVinci 003 into a platform called TidyBot. I thought this was so impressive that I bumped up my AGI conservative countdown from 48% to 49%. It's looking around the room, it's using user preferences to determine where objects should go, throwing it on the couch or throwing it in a bin. Amazon gave us Astro a number of years ago now, but they're building in a new piece into Astro called Amazon Burnham. And they've given some examples of what this might be able to do. If it finds a stove left burning or a water faucet running, it'll find the owner and bring it to their attention. If an elderly man slips in the kitchen, Burnham can check to make sure he's okay and call others to come and help. You can ask Burnham where I left my keys. Or was the kitchen window left open last night? This week, Sanctuary AI introduced Phoenix, an embodiment of large language models. This one's pretty impressive. I don't actually like any of the physical embodiment that's not wearing clothes, because it reminds me of pretty much every Hollywood movie that's ever been released, whether it's Ex Machina or Terminator or iRobot. We'll talk about the concept of putting material over robots in just a moment. Phoenix is the world's first humanoid general purpose robot powered by carbon, but we're not sure just how close this is to being backed by a proper large language model rather than being pre-programmed. This is the Tesla bot. Around the 17th of May, Elon Musk got a bit jealous and decided to release some of these examples of the Tesla bot. This is some rapid progress. Compare this with a year or two ago. We had the person dancing in a silly suit, and then we had it walking very slowly across a stage, but now it's already doing intricate human level physical tasks. Which brings me to the most impressive design of physical embodiment that I've seen so far. It's by a company called OneX, and the reason they've called their company OneX is because some of the videos you just saw were played at 2x speed or 4x speed or even 12x speed because the robot is so slow in these early days that they've had to speed it up so it looks human-like. OneX has a mission to have everything in real time. These guys are really impressive. They're led by Eric Zhang, who's the vice president of AI there, and also a former senior research scientist at robotics at Google. So his work was essentially Palm Saycan. This year, OpenAI's models are set to be embodied in OneX's Neo robots. This is happening. This is not 5 or 10 years away, this is already here. Here's the previous version called Eve, which is a good 2 years old now. Eve has wheels, but Neo has legs. They both have very similar capabilities. OpenAI just invested $23.5 million into OneX. So you can see where this is going. Imagine this physical embodiment backed by GPT-4 1T. Incredible. You would be able to ask it to do absolutely anything. OneX says, an android, what we're calling our humanoid robots now, is a 1x labor multiplier. Our machine learning stack has no mention of the word door or patrol, much the same way that the codebase used to train ChatGPT has no mention of the grammar correction or summarization tasks. That's Eric Zhang, VP of AI at OneX and formerly the guy behind Saycan. Here's a 1x speed video of our first generation Eve autonomously opening a door using a single end-to-end neural net, performing control from pixels to actions. We're focused on scaling AI capabilities on our Eve fleet right now, but our data engine will soon be ported to our Neo biped in the same way that Tesla adds autopilot for new cars. Living in the future is fast. I remember just a few years ago, this stuff seemed like it would be 10, 15, 20 years out. I can guarantee you it is happening right now. This already exists in a lab, inside OneX's lab, inside Google's lab, and we're seeing more of this come into commercial applications. So we're seeing Spot and Atlas being used for security applications, for helping around the house. This is fascinating stuff, and I'm glad you get to sit with me right here on the very bleeding edge. OneX's Neo is weeks away. I'm expecting it July, August 2023, where we can see this fabric-covered humanoid robot acting on the real world using the smarts that are behind GPT-4, or at least ChatGPT. And as you know, the intelligence behind this thing is incredible, outperforming humans and has been doing so since GPT-3, which is 3 years old this Sunday. Not pre-programmed, it's not been told what a house is or how to pick anything up. It's using this conceptualization from the large language model, what it's learnt in 10,000 years equivalent of pre-training in connections between data points. That part to me is completely fascinating, that it's not ASIMO, it hasn't been pre-programmed to go from A to B. Instead, it is an open brain. It is a piece of intelligence that you can ask any question and it'll give it a go. Hopefully we've got those safety layers on there as well, because I can imagine the kinds of things that some people might get up to. But certainly in the house, in the workplace, this is very close to being ready. We still need the Triple H, helpful, honest, and harmless. But the fact that we're already building in these giant large language models into robots and giving robots access to very big large language models via API, via the web, is extremely impressive. I'll leave you with my favorite one. This is OneX Neo. Expect this in a few weeks' time, and I'll see you soon.
Did you see the memo about this?
Yeah. I have the memo right here.
Readying yourself and your family for integrated AI? Get the #1 paid AI newsletter, Artificial Intelligence That Matters, as it happens in plain English.
Did you get that memo?
Yeah, I got the memo.
Join readers from Microsoft, Google, DeepMind, and government.
Yeah, didn't you get that memo?
LifeArchitect.ai/memo.
I have the memo.